This is Memorial Day weekend, and I thought it appropriate to cover what I think is the biggest threat America has faced. And no, it's not the nation of Israel, and no, it's not necessarily the deep state. It's something emanating from the deep state, and it's going to shock you. It absolutely is going to shock you. Now, let me just share with you one thought. The people that fought survived and some who died, and their families that grieve. They did not fight and die for what's being forced upon us. And what's being forced upon us is AI data centers. And a lot of you are like I was until I dug deep into this subject. I knew it was causing my electricity to go up. I knew it was depleting the water table. I didn't know how numerous they were. I did not know the plans for expansion, and I did not know the overall damage. And it's civilization changing. It's not nation changing, it's civilization changing. It's another turning. In other words, we went from the industrial age to the technical age, and now we're going to the AI age. And Zbigniew Brzezinski had a really interesting statement when he wrote a book called Between Two Ages. Now, if you don't know who he was tight with David Rockefeller. They formed the Trilateral Commission together. And in forming the Trilateral Commission, they wanted to basically blend together Western Europe, Japan, the United States, North America, into one technocratic society. And they purposely infiltrated Jimmy Carter's administration. They tried with some success with Reagan. And when Reagan got nasty, they sent him a strong warning, if you know what I'm talking about. And Brzezinski, interesting, was also Obama's Soviet studies professor at Occidental College. Yeah, put those facts together. And Brzezinski wrote a book in 1970 called Between Two Ages, the Technotronic Era. Oh my gosh, was this book ahead of its time? We're talking 56 years ahead of its time. Really, 60 years when you look at the build out from the Technotronic era. We're in the midst of it right now. It's not like, it's coming because what was coming is already here. And Brzezinski said something that's always stuck with me that when a civilization transitions from one form of living to another, like the agricultural age to the industrial age, they go through hell for about 20 years. I think the hell we're going to be going through is permanent. And I think it will actually lead into the end days. And I have to talk to my pastor because he said not too long ago in a church service, he thought we were in the end days. And this man's very, very pragmatic. And he doesn't delve into speculation, but he's been very matter of fact about this. In fact, he's on a mission here to have a massive revival and to baptize as many people as possible. He sees a threat, very big threat. And I'm going to try to share with him this series. And he may say, Dave, it's all garbage. But let me tell you what I've done. I wanted to assess the threat from my worldview, and I'm a Christian. And so I went and I found seven concerning things. I did a seven-part series here. I'm going to. And in that, I analyzed each element of these parts from what the Bible would say. And I'm not saying my analysis is perfect, but I think it's pretty close to right on the money. And I'm going to share all of this with you in this series. Now, if you've just tuned in and you don't know who I am, and by the way, welcome for accidentally stumbling upon us because our notifications are hardly at all going out. Our click-through rate's fantastic. Our notification rate is disgusting. And people are being unsubscribed and they can't resubscribe. This is what they write to me and tell me. And some people tell me they can't even access my social media or the website. We're definitely under attack. There's no question. This is no longer just technological implications and inconveniences. So I'm going to ask all of you to please share this far and wide. Um, as we get into the 7-part series. Anyway, I'm Dave Hodges. This is the Common Sense Show, and we are the show that's freeing America one enslaved mind at a time, hopefully one soul at a time, because we're about God, family, country in that order. And we feel strongly that you need to get healthy. And along those lines, because we're going to go into some bad times, people. And if you think you can count on the medical industrial complex to take care of you, well, how well is that working right now? I'm sorry, your treatment is denied. It's been deemed to be experimental, i.e., you're not important enough to spend this money on. However, if you were some senator's son, as we break into the old Creedence Clearwater song, we would be more than happy to indulge you. So you got to take matters into your own hands. And what I have found, and these products that I'm going to show to you here, is they have transformed my life. In fact, actually, I think I'd be on death's doorstep had it not been for the first product, which was the Nanosoma liquid spray. And Scotty Sachs, my good friend from Sovereign Radio, and we do some ventures together. Scotty brought me this and said, Dave, try this. Try it. Because I was a mess from RSV and strep lung lines. It worked. And I got full recovery. And then I needed to bring my body into full recovery so I could really work out and maximize my health condition. And I had to use the Nanosoma gel. And you rub it on, do it once a day on your affected areas. It grows pluripotent stem cells. And over time, you're going to start to see major relief. By the 8-week mark, I had 100% relief. 100%. And today I'm able to do things I haven't done in 25 years. And finally, there's a skin cream, cuts and burns. And you've seen me if you followed me in length of time. Treat a massive cut on my index finger and no scar today, no stitches, but I probably needed them. So together, this is the 3-pack, 15% off. Go to iwantmyhealthpack.com/Dave Hodges. And I want to emphasize this. Every person in America should have these products because we don't know what lies ahead. Supply chain issues are coming because of the war. Are you going to be able to get medicine? It's all transported, and we got to depend on China for a lot of it. Yeah, exactly. So what I'm telling you to do right now is take matters into your own hands. This is it. I want myhealthback.com/Dave Hodges. Well, I'm going to start here with a presentation, and they use an abbreviation of the F word, and I apologize for that ahead of time. And the person who put this video together did a great job. And unfortunately, I don't bring that language to this forum. You know that. And they don't say it directly. They don't spell it out directly. They use little asterisks and stuff, but you know what they're talking about. But I think the content outweighs the offensiveness. So I do apologize ahead of time. My advice would be viewer discretion for your kids. YouTube thought it was fine to put it up, so we're going to show it. And my hat's off to the creator of this because he put together some video clips that are, shall we say, mind-numbing. And it tells you where this series is going. So again, I apologize for the graphic on here, not my choice, but this creator did a marvelous job of putting together clips that show you why you should be concerned about AI and the data centers. And like I said, we're going to put the lens of Christianity on it before we're done. And this has got to be a multi-part series, probably covering a period over several days. And we won't probably do it all consecutively because there's other things going on, but you're going to get the full meal deal on this eventually. This is the biggest threat to humanity, not just America, but humanity. And it's the least understood threat. And I speak from experience. Until I delved into it, until I really had no idea how bad this was. I had no clue. My view on technology is this: it's neutral. You can use a gun for good, hunt for food, self-defense. Okay. You can use a knife for good to do it as a tool or use it as a weapon. Technology is neutral. It's how you use it. And how the people behind this are using it is exemplified in these clips. These people, I would classify them as literally being anti-human and insensitive lacking any kind of moral character, and they're certainly not indwelled with the Spirit, the Holy Spirit. They don't serve God. God's not in their mindset. They think they're God. And this is, I think you'll agree with my observations here. Here we go. This is scary.
You have an incredible amount of power at this moment in time. Why should we trust you?
You should. I have a kid that was born in 2025. I don't think he'll ever be smarter than AI. I don't think that'll get in the way of his happiness or fulfillment at all. It's sort of strange, and also sort of to him like it's the only world he'll ever know.
Well, I love the idea of getting a drone and having light fentanyl-laced urine spraying on analysts who tried to screw us.
So in other words, I guess I should duck when I go out of the house today because Carp, from Peter Thiel's group, right? Palantir, he wants to spray me with urine substance laced with fentanyl so I'll keel over and die. That's what he's saying right here. This is what this guy is saying. He is the CEO of Palantir. Palantir, who the government's throwing billions of dollars at and basically letting them dominate the president's Science and Technology Commission.
So that's my lower purpose.
Yeah, I'd say.
But the higher purpose for me was to get this nation to be the preeminent power in the world.
Yeah, but if we lose sight of God, we lose sight of the Constitution, does it matter how powerful we are if you're miserable? The Constitution is designed to prevent an overreach from government, and right now the Constitution is on life support. This guy would do away with the Constitution. You have no rights whatsoever. None. Zero.
You would prefer the human race to endure, right?
Do you know who this is? This is Peter Thiel, one of the major campaign contributors to President Trump. Key sponsor through his entire career of Vice President J.D. Vance, perhaps a future president. And he's asked, should humanity endure? What's our worth to this man who's into AI? You're not going to believe this.
You're hesitating.
Yeah, well,
yes?
I don't know. I would,
this is a long hesitation. This is a long hesitation.
So the primary source of...
Does that scare the heck out of you? This man is so powerful. If we go into a digital age, for example, the war goes on long enough, we have an economic collapse, the dollar fails, the plans are set. Digital dollar. It's already set. The big, beautiful bill, stable coin. This is the guy. And he doesn't care whether you live or die. That was really clear there in that exchange. So I'm trying to raise your level of concern because I'm going to walk you through several steps, and I think you should be paying close attention.
Of death in Palestine is the fact that Hamas has realized that there are millions and millions of useful idiots.
I know it's difficult to...
Hamas has realized there's millions and millions of useful idiots. So what we're going to do here is just let the Palestinians get massacred by Netanyahu. Is that the implication I'm hearing there? These are human beings. And a lot of them are held captive by the same tyrannical forces in spirit that are taking over our country. And I don't think elementary schools, as I've said many times, should be bombed during daylight hours, even if there is a Hamas headquarters underneath of them. Do it at night if you have to wage war. But why victimize the kids? With this guy? No, they're all useful idiots. I'm going to be going on Sarah Westall's show on Tuesday, and I'm going to talk about the plans they have for the West Bank and what's left of the Palestinians. People, this is bad. And it comes from people like this. Israeli technocrat Shlomo Kramer.
Here, but it's time to limit the First Amendment in order to protect it.
Okay. I want to just break that statement down for a minute here. It's time to limit the First Amendment to protect it. That's like having sex to protect virginity. Sorry for the crude analogy, but that's what I remember from the Vietnam War, and I cleaned it up. Um, who is this Israeli telling us what our constitution should be? Oh, that's right. That's the same country with Miriam Adelson and her bag of $35 million of cash that came in and bought a congressional seat and put a populist, Thomas Massey, out of work. See, he's talking like that country owns us. And I think he's right.
And quickly before it's too late.
What do you mean?
I mean that we need to control the platforms, all the social platforms. We need to stack rank the authenticity of every person that.
In other words, we will decide who gets to speak. Do you understand what he's saying here? He's not talking about his own country. He's talking about their political views dominating our country. And here's what's concerning. You have people like Ted Cruz and 94% of all of Congress that takes AIPAC donations, Israeli lobby donations. And Ted Cruz said when I got elected to the Senate, and I quote from his Tucker Carlson interview, well, my main job was to protect Israel. No, it wasn't. You were elected by United States citizens, Ted Cruz. All right. This should bother you.
Expresses themselves online and take control over what they are saying based on that ranking.
The government.
The government should
control social media.
Yeah, should do that.
We were going to use technology to change the whole world and basically overturn the monetary system of the world.
He just told you what's coming, people. This is why I think this war is the war we're supposed to lose. I didn't think that initially. I posed it one day as an afterthought. But he's saying this right here. This is what's going to replace the failed money system. It's the technocrats versus central banking. And I told you this is two flavors of the people that want to run everything, and one's at war with the other. The Federal Reserve, the Bank of International Settlements, okay, the European Union and their banks, all the world's central banks versus the digital people. And Trump is throwing down with the digital people. This is why he's had such a feud with the Federal Reserve. Now, he's got a guy in there right now. I think it's interesting. I think he's trying to walk a middle line, but you're going to lose either way. That's a fact. So here's Peter Thiel telling you what's coming. Digital control of your money, which means they have the final say on how you spend it, or even if you can access it if you misbehave. Social credit. Oh, excuse me, fellow Christians. It will end up with Mark of the Beast.
Never win an election on getting certain things because we were in such a small minority. But maybe you could actually unilaterally change the world without having to constantly convince people and beg people and plead with people who are never going to agree with you through a technological means. And this is where I think,
in other words, we don't care what the will of the people is. We're just going to force this down their throat.
Technology is this incredible alternative to politics.
We see a few.
You hear what he's saying? You don't need government. There won't be politics. There won't be a constitution. It's going to be just us. That'll be new justice, right? Just us. He's telling you. And when people talk like this that have immense power, I think we should believe them.
Future where intelligence is a utility like electricity or water, and people buy it from us.
They want to digitize everything, and I'm extrapolating and taking a step forward from this. But Sam Altman's been very clear. He has said just what I just said. We want to digitize everything from the water you drink, they already do that with the water bills, to the air you breathe. That's coming. To everything that you do. Everything. Everything that exists on the earth will be tokenized digitally that they control. This is what he has actually advocated for. I wished I was making this up. I wished I'd having a bad mental day and stress is overtaking me and my paranoia instincts are creeping out. But this is what the man has said in writing. This is scary. How do you think the Bible fits into this? Yeah, exactly. At least from his point of view, you should be very nervous if you're a Christian.
On a meter and use it for whatever they want to use it for.
We will actually make so many robots and AI that they will actually saturate all human needs. Meaning you won't be able to even think of something to ask the robot for at a certain point.
You have an
Yeah, we're going to deal with that later on in the part of the series here where robots will do everything and we'll do nothing. See, it won't be just you own nothing and you'll love it, as the World Economic Forum told us. It's that you'll do nothing and you better love it because we got the social credit system on our side.
incredible amount of power at this moment in time. Why should we trust you?
You should.
You shouldn't trust us. So the people who are dominating this country with AI are saying, you should trust us. And then they turn around and they're honest in their interviews and say, you shouldn't trust us. Which is it going to be for you? I'm going to hold this right here because I don't want to convolute the two parts, but I want to say this very, very clearly. This is not a concocted threat. This is not something that I'm bringing to your attention because I want you to give me massive amounts of money. First of all, I don't need it. Because secondly, I've diversified and I know anyone's totally immune, but I'm largely immune. I'm not motivated by that. I'm motivated by the fact that most of you won't even know what hit you when it arrives, and it's arriving right now. And there are communities that are being destroyed over AI technology and data centers, destroyed. And I'm going to be covering that with you as we go through this series. And you're going to say, gee, will it come to my neighborhood? If we allow this to continue, there'll be no one that's not touched. And this is a fact. And as I go through the subsequent parts, we're going to bring the Bible into this and see what the Lord has to say. I believe the Bible is the infallible word of God. And because I do believe that, I'm consulting with it and I've analyzed it. And I said, I think I've got a pretty good handle. Now, I will tell you this, God, and I'll say this as a spoiler alert, I'm pretty sure he views technology as us getting dominion over the earth, which we're commanded to do. But we're also commanded to rule over the earth with love and compassion in the spirit of Christ. And we're not doing that. And these people, this isn't even in their mind. And they, I would guess, scoff at you for making statements like I just made. So stay tuned because we're going to open this up and you're going to see, we've seen the philosophical indifference to humanity. Now you're going to see how it practically manifests in our life in subsequent parts. Stay tuned. There's a lot to go through.